Raw review, our pops and drops, pop up, drop down. I'm Will. That's Brandon. Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers and let's talk about some wrestling, huh?
What a great episode of Raw. Set us up for
It's a weekly occurrence at this
Money
point.
in the Bank. I mean, just fantastic.
Weekly occurrence at this point. I mean, that's what it feels like. Just absolutely great episodes. They're on a roll here. And a great takeover episode going into Money in the Bank. So let's get right to it, huh? Show starts. We're in the crowd, but not in the crowd. We're with the crowd backstage. Mosh pit of people going crazy. There's only one guy who can do this, right? It's Jey Uso. Camera goes to him. He is surrounded. One camera cut, making his way to the ring. No security with the kid or with the dude. I mean, he's just, fans are all up in his grill. He's yeeting with them. The yeet lights are absolutely out here, going crazy. He gets to the ring, dabs up Michael Cole. Corey Graves said he wouldn't do that because yeeting is a disgusting term, and he wouldn't like that at all. But yeah, he gets in the ring, gets a mic, and this is his time to basically say that he's going to be the Money in the Bank winner, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of the
pretty standard stuff.
Kind of the whole thing here. He said he's going to win the Mun Yeet in the Bank. Don't know if that
trademarked.
Don't know if that was the most catchy thing in the world, but
it doesn't really flow off the tongue too well. But
quickly, Gable comes out and he says, "Yeet isn't even a word. You know what is a word? Miracle is a word. And if you look up the word miracle in the dictionary, you're gonna find a picture of me." Because he continues to just be amazing. He goes, "I overcame an attack. I overcame my family leaving me. And I overcame 2 monsters last week in order to get into my Money in the Bank match." And he said, "I will become the master in the bank." Jay immediately was like, "Dude, why are you here? You've been getting chased by the Wyatt Six. I want nothing to do with that." Mm-hmm. And Chad Gable's like, "Wait, why are you getting mad at me? You abandoned your family just like me. Hell, you have the yeet lights." And Jay goes, "I don't even want the yeet lights. I told bro that he can give it back. I'll just take I'll take the mosquitoes and the cockroaches."
Really nice, like quick little humor. I like this.
Yeah, and then he said, "I didn't leave my family. The only thing I did to my family is what the Alpha Academy is doing to you right now, and that's leaving a scumbag." And when that happens, they both get into a fight. They start to brawl. Jay does his little spit into a super kick. Goes for a splash on Gable, but Gable's like, "No, I'm too smart for this. I'm gonna roll out of the ring." When he rolls out of the ring, the good stuff happens, right? Lights, pew. Jey Uso's off screen, but that dude dips.
Yeah.
He's just gone.
ASAP.
So he's Gable's in front of the ring toward the stage. All the lights, do. And he's like, "Nope, not sticking around here." Because he sees the smoke is filling the ring again. He dips out over the barricade and he starts to make his way through the crowd to like where the set is. But then he turns and they have these bright lights and all you can see is a silhouette of we thought was like the pig character.
Yeah, Huskus the pig, I think.
Huskus, right? The first one. He's like, "Nope, not going that way." Walks a little bit more toward the set. Light. And you can see the silhouette of, looked like the buzzard maybe. I don't know.
The second one I think was the rabbit.
The rabbit, yeah.
And the third one I think was the buzzard, yeah.
Yeah, and then he tries to take off the other way and there's another silhouette of him. And he's like, "You know what? This is scary. This is spooky. I'm going to run into the crowd through the stairs and just run away." And that was the end of this. Well, no. Then camera pans to commentary. Security guards are dead on the announce table.
Laid out. We didn't hear it.
No, nothing.
Laid out.
You didn't see it, but they got destroyed somehow. And the woman there, not Nikki Cross, creepy girl in a mask, is standing there with another box. And she hands it to Michael Cole at commentary. And we find out right away that it's another VHS that says "Play Me." So this opening segment was hot right off the bat with the crowd. The crowd was into this. We got a little Money in the Bank, a little Money in the Bank dispute in action. We got some Uncle Howdy nonsense. I mean, this is all you could ask for, man. Pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop it as well. I guess I'll start from the beginning. So you have that entrance as well. Like you said, Jay's he's just being mobbed.
Yeah.
Just hit my music. And then he comes out and that scene is like, oh, like he's the most over guy in the company.
He might be the most over guy in wrestling that I've seen in a while. Like, especially for a guy that doesn't wrestle weekly. Like, Jeez, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, like, obviously people, the immediate pushback is probably Cody Rhodes, but there's a lot of people I know that dislike Cody.
Yeah.
And the amount of pops and just like you said, those lights, like it's so, and maybe it's like a visual thing, but Jay is so over.
So
it's
over.
just over the top.
So over.
Then you go and you fast forward and he does this kind of standard, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank. And I told you, I thought, oh, this is when they're all going to come out. This is when they're all going to, it was nice though. You have Gable who's getting really, really good on the mic. He's really comfortable in his character. And then obviously the Wyatt stuff.
Yeah.
You have Chad alluding to like Jay also betraying his family with the Wyatt stuff too, which I thought was super cool. Everybody's been kind of thinking what's going to happen. Who are they really going to go after? And a nice touch for the Wyatt stuff because last week we saw a creepy girl.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to see anybody else.
Right.
And you don't need to really see too much of those guys. So I thought just a little sprinkle here and there was enough. They still haven't, I guess, at least I haven't heard them address the people yet. I haven't heard them say that's Huskus or that's Rambling Rap. So we're still just speculating, but I thought it was a great opening segment to start off and a lot of different storylines to go into like, hey, this Money in the Bank's kind of up for grabs, even though they just had it with the two people, but those are kind of the two favorites. And
they were the favorites.
So to plant that, it's like, oh.
And then they got a match next week, 1-on-1. So it's like,
which, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think either one of them are winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I know.
Because the Wyatts, somebody's going to come out, like the Wyatts are going to come out in that match.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It's one of those, and it's one of those things of like, are they just, if they come out in the match, are they going to just attack Gable? There's other people in that match that have done shitty things to their family, aka Jay, which Jay kind of made it seem like he did his family wrong, but for the right reasons, which I think everybody can agree with. So I don't think that they'll go after Jay, but if Howdy gets involved at all, then now Jay is kind of, sort of his toe is into the Howdy pond with this segment. So now it's like, would that also screw Jay over? It could get really interesting in Money in the Bank. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. And then that match on Raw. Yeah, it's gonna be just
that's
gonna be such a good match, but it's also gonna be such a good like character story driven segment as well.
Let's move on. Xavier Woods with Kofi Kingston takes on Karrion Kross in the Final Testament. This was actually a little bit better than I thought that it was going to be when it came out. The match was good. Okay. So Kross came out dominating. He was, he was throwing Kofi around, slamming him, giving him slaps.
Xavier.
Yeah. Sorry. Whatever.
I mean, he did just fight Kofi last week.
Yeah. So, Karrion Kross would power slam Xavier into the ring post. Really tough spot here. Dropped, and not only did he powerbomb him, he then just kind of like dropped Xavier onto his head. Mm-hmm. That was a little rough.
Yeah.
But when we get back from commercial break, because commercial breaks happen right during the match nowadays, Xavier is back in control, but then Karrion Kross hits a headbutt. He now goes back into control. And then the effery starts to kind of happen on the outside. You get a little bit of, AOP is acting like they might come into the ring. Kofi's acting like he might help. Back and forth happens. But then, like, randomly before any actual BS happens, Xavier gets the roll up. 1, 2, 3, beats Karrion Kross. The match was actually going well. And this was like, Karrion was actually getting some good offense in and establishing himself as a character here. And I thought that the roll up just took all the momentum from it. After the match, though, there was AOP came in the ring and attacked Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. They kind of threw Xavier out of the ring. He was kind of out, and Karrion Kross put Kofi Kingston in a arm bar-esque maneuver. And, he snapped his arm. So I don't know if Kofi's going to be hurt from here on out, but they did the damage. That stuff was good. I'm going to drop it. I'm still not on with it. I don't like the roll-up. The roll-up is cheap here. I'm always a fan of a good roll-up, but everybody was doing good stuff in this match. This was the most we had gotten to anybody giving a crap about this story in any way. And then it just felt like, okay, never mind. Like, it's done. That felt cheap to me. I didn't like it. I'm dropping it.
Yeah, I'm going to come right out and drop it right off the bat. I understand what they're going for. Xavier now has a win. Kofi does not have a win over Karrion Kross. So obviously that's the angle. I did like Karrion Kross at the end being like, oh, like Woods, what are you gonna do? It's 5-on-1 now. Like, are you gonna shake my hand? I thought that was just a nice little like sentence.
Yeah.
But in terms of like a feud and me caring about like the New Day breaking up now, I still just have no interest. And for me, like, this would have been a great maybe second match of the night. I thought the opening segment, like we said, was fantastic. But in terms of the first in-ring action to be this, I was like,
It also didn't make any sense with what's already been established in the storyline that's happening. Like, Kofi didn't cost Xavier Woods at all. Like, there was no, like, we've been establishing the fact that, like, the story so far has been that Kofi has, without knowing it, has kind of put himself over Xavier Woods in XYZ ways.
Mhm.
And then there was absolutely none of that. So now is it just Final Testament's just going to dominate to the point where Xavier wants to eat?
yeah, no. But
I'm not overthinking it.
before the match started, we were like, okay, well, Kofi's gonna unknowingly do something, and he's gonna cost Woods, and that's how they're gonna do this. But no, Woods just gets the win, and then Kofi gets attacked. But it's like, well, that seems just kind of like out of nowhere, I guess. Like, Xavier is like, I love Kofi, and that's my brother, and da 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 da. But it's like, oh, we just put him on the shelf, and he'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this for Kofi.
Yeah,
like, he's just because Kofi's away, he's not gonna randomly go to you, and if he does, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where we're going with that. It's a drop. Then we get Dom and Damien backstage walking together, and he's like, Damien's like, have you been talking to Rhea lately? And Dom's like, yeah, I talked to Rhea. And Damien's like, no, you haven't, because I talked to Rhea, and she's pissed, bro. And he's like, you need to handle this live stuff tonight. And he's like, I will handle live stuff. And then Damien's like, you've said that every single week and you haven't done it. So how about you do it for once? And Dom kind of acts like a kid. It's like, okay. And they get to the Judgment Day room, and they open the door, and Liv's in there playing 2K with the boys. They're just playing 2K with the boys. And Carlito's like, no, Damien, it's cool. It's cool. I'm playing as you. I'm playing as you. So as Liv's on her way out, because, Damien's here, so she's got to leave. And
she's got a match.
She goes, good luck, Daddy Dom. Damien pulls Finn aside and is like, dude, you can't just have Liv in here in the Judgment Day zone. That's not cool. And Finn's like, I think the only problem here is you. Liv got us title matches last week, and she helped us win those titles. You, last week, put us on the line, your spot in Judgment Day on the line against Seth Rollins. And you also said that we don't need you because you're the champ. And then Damien's like, well, when Rhea was champ and none of us were champ, we needed Rhea. It's the same thing here, but you now have tag titles, so we need each other. It's kind of the thing. And Damien just goes, or no, Finn then just goes, since you won that belt, you've changed. And they kind of just stare at each other, and cameras pass away. This was enough, though. I like this. This is some good Finn Damien drama. I will give it a pop here. This was the stuff that we've been rumoring for weeks happening between the two, and now we're really planting the seeds, and this was good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I also thought it was good in the beginning when Damien and Dom are walking into the room, and Dom says, oh, we were acting just like my dad.
Yeah.
And Damien's like, what did you say? And he's like, I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So it's like he's starting to really they're really starting to plant the seeds of him having issue with all of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Except obviously Carlito, who is
just cool.
Towards the end of the segment, I thought it was great. Carlito's like, oh, this one's for you, Priest, because it's completely quiet. And then he's like, oh yeah. And then he hits a move off the top rope.
In 2K.
Yeah. And then that I was like, okay, cool. Carlito still gets a little laugh here and there for me.
Well, from there, we go directly to Liv's match. She's defending her World Heavyweight Championship against Zelina Vega. And we knew Zelina wasn't going to win this match right away because the Kathy Kelly curse. She has a pre-match interview.
We gotta put a
Kathy Kelly curse.
Yeah, we gotta put like a little counter.
We all know if you get interviewed pre-match by Kathy Kelly, you're doomed.
Or put in some little music or something.
And Zelina was like, we're gonna see who real champion looks like tonight. So they come out back and forth early. Both are getting some really good offense. Zelina actually looks great here. So did Liv. They're both doing well for each other. But it was very quickly. Dom comes out. Last week he said he was going to be on Zelina's side. Uh-huh. So he's technically here for Zelina. But Liv was very excited to see Dom. She was waving to him, giving him kisses. Was blowing him kisses, not giving him kisses. And Zelina would take advantage of her doing this, right? Mm-hmm. And then quickly after that, 10 seconds later, Rey Mysterio comes out.
Yeah. They must have been right behind each other.
Yeah. You go first. But cool stuff would ensue here. So Liv Morgan, wanting to impress Dominic Mysterio and also noticing Ray on the outside, would give Zelina the three amigos. Hit Eddie Guerrero's old move, and then she'd get up and she'd do the shimmy and point at Dom. Really good stuff here.
It's a way to a man's heart right
It
there.
really was. And then she would continue. She would do Rhea's prison lock, or whatever it's called. Yeah, the prison lock submission maneuver.
Yeah, I think she calls it something different, but Graves
But
just
that's what
referred
it
to as
is,
that.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so Liv was doing Rhea's submission maneuver, but she didn't tap. We get a moonsault later from Vega. We got a 1-2 ooh there. Very close stuff here. We got a top rope code red from Zelina Vega, and Liv would then roll out of the ring, and this would bring Dom and Ray closer together, and they would kind of start trash talking. And Ray would shove Dom.
Yeah, what a deadbeat
He's
dad.
a deadbeat dad.
How dare he?
And then Liv would come and baseball slide, drop kick him.
Super nice.
Knocked him. It was great. But Zelina would take advantage of this. She would hit the 619 on Liv. She'd do the kick, and then she would do her like DDT move. And the whole crowd was like, it was a very close 1-2 ooh here. Very, very, very close. Dom would then get a chair and try to slide it into Zelina Vega, like he did to Becky Lynch when Liv won the championship. But Zelina was like, no, what are you doing? That would literally get me disqualified, you idiot. The ref's right here. And she would throw the chair at Dom, and it hit him right in the noggin.
Yeah. One of those like she must have watched a lot of Hulk Hogan chair shots because it was like a right
in his face. But Liv would take advantage of this, hit the Oblivion, 1, 2, 3. Liv wins it. She would be thanking Dom and walking out with him. Kathy Kelly did a post-game interview with her, interviewed her, and she said, how is this Liv Revenge Tour going? And Liv basically said, it's going exactly to plan, and I dedicate this win and all future wins to Daddy Dominic. This all the way around obviously was a pop. Come on.
Yeah, it's got to be a pop. Unless you don't like the storyline for whatever reason, then you probably hated this. It was nice to see Liv in action defend the title on Raw. We always talk about champions defending titles.
Yes.
So got to give her props there. Zelina, we're not the biggest Zelina fans, but we think she's maybe a little bit over it in the ring. She kind of does, you've mentioned it before, really good at spot wrestling. Like she's really good at big spots, which she's great at.
Which the time they were given today was spot-to-spot wrestling, and she shined in it. She did a really good job.
Yeah, the way they set the matchup, I thought really highlighted her and her ability to do certain things.
Because in the downtime of the match, if there was downtime between the spots, it was focused on what's Dom doing, what's Ray doing on the outside of the ring, what's Liv doing to Dom, stuff like that. So this story just continued here, and obviously she retained, as we all thought. But both of them look good, and it was expected. Nobody in the world thought Zelina Vega was walking the championship.
I saw some people saying they wanted Zelina to win it, but obviously if you had to pick, I don't know. And they didn't say why. I just said what I saw.
We just complimented Zelina Vega like crazy, but come on, I saw that she hasn't won a singles match since last August, so she shouldn't have even had a title match. But it's another point.
And then obviously that's the second match of the night.
Yeah.
So that sets up for Ray and Dom later in the night, which we'll get to here in a second.
Yep. So we then would get a quick Drew promo for the Money in the Bank. He had a DM Hunk shirt on, which is good. We'd also get a sneak peek at the WrestleMania 40 video coming out this Wednesday, which we will be doing a review on, by the way. Quick thing there. Then
cheap plug.
Seth Rollins would come out. Whoa. Maybe? Is that right?
No.
I'm terrible with that.
No,
Crowd
we gotta work on it.
Crowd was singing though. He hits all of his catchphrases one by one. No, Monday Night Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He would say, next week I'll be standing here, your new world heavyweight champion. This is a championship city because they're in Boston and they just won the NBA championship. And he says, you guys understand more than everything that I have to win this. I need to win this. If I lose, then I'm going to have to reevaluate myself and my legacy. And music hits. Damian Priest. No, it's not Damian Priest. It's Finn Balor. Mm-hmm. Finn Balor comes out. And he's like, I won the championship last week, tag title, and I should be in a good mood, but I'm in a very bad mood. He goes, you know why? Because things are changing. Judgment Day is changing. Damian Priest is changing. And it's all because of you, Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. And Seth's like, no, you're just jealous, bro.
I really wish Finn came out and was like, I'm in a bad mood. I was she's like, I've got some bad news. Yeah. I was hoping.
It was bad news, Finn Balor right there.
Like,
Seth's like, I think you're just jealous because Priest has what you could never get back, that World Heavyweight Championship. And Seth begins to challenge Finn Balor to a match like right here, right now. But there's Damian Priest. He comes out and he's pissed. He's
damn near
steaming.
sprinting to the ring.
He's pissed. That belt's sliding down his shoulder because he doesn't know how to put it on his shoulder. But he comes out and he goes, and Seth Rollins is like, you know, he's like the two strongest Judgment Day members right here. Is this a trap? Is this a trap? And Damian's like, no, it's not a trap. He gets in the ring. He's like, what this is not a trap. Nobody else is getting in my business from here on out. This is between you and me. And he's looking at Finn when he says that. He's like, get out of my business. And Seth is like, you know, we ain't got to wait for Saturday, bro. We can fight right now. And Damian's like, God, he's kind of just over this whole thing. But Finn attacks him. Finn attacks Seth. And he gets on top of Seth, starts beating him down. And Damian pulls him off.
Yeah, Finn's like, why aren't you helping me?
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to be beating this guy up.
Priest is like, no, dude, get off him. And he pulls him off, but then Seth ends up getting a little bit of revenge back, and he gives Finn Balor a stomp while he's on one of the ropes.
Yeah, he gives them both, like, right before he stomps him. He gives them, like, a super kick, but he super kicks, like, both.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
I guess they kind of meant to do that on purpose.
Yeah, I know. But when he stomps him, Damian Priest does at that point get involved and give Seth Rollins the South of Heaven. Very good looking South of Heaven.
Ooh, that might be the best one I've seen.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, he got him up.
The best one I've seen in a while, at least.
Yeah, but he slams him down. Damian and Finn are going to the back, and Damian's kind of giving a prep talk all the way to the back. But this was good. Absolutely good. More Finn Balor stuff. It begs the question. So I'm going to pop it real quick before I ask this question. But, I mean, is Balor going to screw Damian Priest at Money in the Bank?
I don't think it'll be a Money in the Bank.
Really?
I think that's almost too soon.
Ooh.
I think it'll probably be SummerSlam.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to pop this as well, and I'll get to my reasoning. But to answer your question, I think that they just started planting the seeds.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to slowly plant some more here and there.
Yeah.
I think maybe Money in the Bank, Finn will come out and maybe try to help Damian.
That's what I'm saying.
But then he almost like, I think he tries to help Damian, but then he also like almost costs him.
Yeah.
But Damian retains.
See,
does that make sense?
That's more of what I would think, is that he wouldn't purposely cost him, but I think that the probability of him coming out to try to help and then that ends in Drew losing or Damian losing has spiked like exponentially. Like it almost feels like a guarantee, which scares me.
Yeah, I think it's just too early.
Yeah. I mean, I hope not. I love Damian.
Yeah. Also, to start this segment, I realized to myself, I'm a big Seth Rollins fan. He's been one of my favorites for a while.
Yeah.
I don't like face Rollins. Not a fan. Like maybe when he was going against Brock, maybe.
I feel like he's a tweener.
But like this,
like he plays dirty.
Yeah, but I feel like he's overly face right now, obviously, because he just came back. And I was just like, it's hard for me to just buy into Seth right now. And maybe that's the point, because as we've talked about with other storylines before, my focus is not on the title match. Like my focus is not really Rollins versus Damian. It's more so what happens with Damian and Finn.
Yeah.
Like, and the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of just maybe solidifies, to me at least, that they'll keep the belt on Priest.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with Seth after this before SummerSlam, but that's just kind of what my mind says.
Who knows? It's coming. It's coming. Anyway, we move on. We get a video package about Ludwig. He's announcing that he broke his ribs last week with the with all the stuff that happened with Braun Breaker, and that Dragunov is going to take his place in their qualifying match tonight. And then we shoot back to Damian Priest backstage with Finn Balor very quickly. He just looks at Damian looks at Finn and goes, "At Money in the Bank, please stay out of the way. I'm doing this on my own." And Finn just goes, "You got it, bro." And he walks away. So we just gave our thoughts on that, but a little bit more there. We would then get our women's Money in the Bank qualifier. We thought we were going to get what we wanted. How stupid are we, huh?
We've been getting it too much lately.
We've been getting it too much lately.
We've been spoiled.
Ivy Nile versus Zoe Stark versus the woman who kind of went viral this week in the wrestling world on the internet, because she streams in one of her streams. She got very emotional about the fact that she really wants a chance solo wise, and this was maybe just too good of an opportunity, I guess. Anyway, We got a bunch of good spots. This was another spot match, and every single one of them looked great. I just want to point that out right from the get go.
Very surprising.
Yeah, every single one of them. Because I was like Ivy Nile and Zoe Stark. We like them, but like, come on. And
I don't know if it's almost like we're indifferent.
them. Yeah,
we're just kind of like, oh, they're there. We were obviously big Dakota fans. We're like, yeah, she's gonna win this. She's gonna win this. This is clearly Dakota's match to lose. And then we were very surprised by the in-ring.
Yeah, so we got some hard baseball slide kicks from Nile to Dakota Kai on the outside to start the match. Nile had this spot where she did a kick to Zoe Stark and then would immediately turn around. She did a kick and then like 180 slap Dakota Kai. That was pretty sweet at the same time. Nile did a double bulldog off the top rope, and then she would immediately get up. They would do a little German suplex change up, and then she would end up German suplexing both of the girls. So she was booked strong tonight. Stark would hit one of her finishers. Dakota Kai would do the chiropractor.
Such a cool move.
On Zoe Stark, but the pin was broken up, and that's when the BS-ery would happen. Kairi Sane and Io Sky would run out. And almost...
I think just Kairi. I don't think Io was there.
No, was it not Io?
Yeah, I think just Kairi was there.
Sorry about that. But it didn't matter.
Either way,
it didn't matter because 5 seconds later, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn run out. And they start attacking. Of course, this distracts Dakota Kai because that's her teammates, right? And we get Zoe Stark walking over. She does the Z360, which is her finisher, to Dakota Kai. And not only does Dakota Kai not win, she takes the pin here. Zoe Stark is the final woman in the Queen of the Ring match. And I mean, I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to pop it because the match was great and I don't want to take away anything from anybody here. All three of them put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm dropping the decision. I mean, sometimes the right decision is the right decision. And Dakota Kai belonged in this match alongside Chelsea Green, alongside Tiffany Stratton, alongside Naomi. This was a golden opportunity for her. I totally dislike the damage control stuff going on. I'm completely over that. They can't buy me back into the damage control. So I'm popping the match, but I'm dropping hard the decision here.
Yeah, I am going to agree to pop the match. Very surprising. I thought at least Ivy Nile looked good. Zoe Stark looked good. We had limited exposure with Zoe Stark, at least previously. Some NXT stuff if you watch NXT, but obviously like main roster single stuff, not a ton. She had that feud with like Trish Stratus at one point.
Yeah,
but other than that, not a whole lot. The decision, I guess, I'm going to go ahead and drop it as well. But it's weird because now they're like, next week on Raw, we have Damage Control versus former tag team champs.
Well, that's because and what happens a little bit later, but yeah.
Yeah, but we can just, I guess, talk about it now. I'll just jump the gun.
Just jump to it. Just go for it.
Because I get what they're going to do there, and then they're going to lose, and then Dakota's probably going to say she's done or whatever. But you don't need that.
A little bit later in the night, Dakota Kai gets interviewed backstage, and Lyra Valkyria and Kitana Chance and Katie Carter show up, talk some smack. They get into a brawl that sets up this match. So
yeah.
We'll skip
and
that
it's
later.
And it's 3-on-3, and it's like I get it, I guess. Like you want Damage Control to lose that match, and then Dakota's going to be like, fine, I'm done, and maybe she fights maybe Io or something. I don't know, but it's like you could have at least just showcased her. She says the Money in the Bank, and you have Io in there already. You could have at least teased some friction there. Like you could have done something there.
Yeah, I mean, it would have only made more sense because she wouldn't have won because her and Io would have gotten into a fight in the match. It would have just furthered the storyline. I just think that this was completely the wrong decision. And the way the match was booked, honestly, Ivy Nile was the star of the match. So if not Kai, give it to her.
You'd mentioned it maybe halfway through the match. You were like, man, Dakota's there to take a lot of bumps.
Yeah.
Like she was the bump person in the match. And it was kind of weird to see because typically when we see those superstars go kind of viral, whether it's on their own or by WWE or somebody else is doing outside when it's not on TV programming, usually they get a little bit of a push. I'm not saying that won't happen. It might be delayed, but it's like you had a chance.
Made me angry, though. Didn't like it. Wyatt 6 VHS video number 2. We go to that. And once again, I will be looking at my notepad a lot because it is a VHS therapy session between Bo Dallas. WWE confirmed that it's Bo Dallas. Okay. So I'm going to keep it that way. Even though the comment section was shitting on me for saying Bo last week instead of Taylor. Look on WWE.com. It says Bo Dallas talks to Uncle Howdy. You freaking. Anyway,
He's in a bad mood today.
it's a Dakota Kai loss, man. We're back with Bo and Howdy. They're same exact setup. So they're having a little therapy session. But this is really good stuff this time. It starts out by Bo saying, how much longer are we going to do this? What are we even doing? And Howdy goes, do you honestly believe that you brought them to life? And everyone's like, what do you mean? Bo says, I was destined to do this. And Howdy says, so you think you're special? Bo says, we're the ones that they abandoned. We made them remember us. Howdy, there you are. Howdy said, you believe you can bring them to life then? And Bo said, they were chosen, died to the flesh to become beautiful in a family. We become a family. Bo said, people who have belittled their families for their own game, they must pay. So we now have established the what's the word that I'm looking for? We've established the goal of the
whole reason
why it sits. The reason that they're here. They must pay. So he goes, I am the voice of the reckoning. And then Howdy and Bo, it starts glitching as they say this. I am the reckoning. I am the reckoning. I gave them a family. I am the reckoning. I am the reckoning. And then they combine into one. And then he just says, I set them free. So we now have established the reason that the Wyatt Six are here. We have established that brought them back to life. I'm assuming means the Firefly Funhouse characters. That's why they're now here. This is just good, man. This is good, Pops.
Yeah, it's got to be Pops. If you liked last week's, you got to like this week's.
Yeah.
They give you an actual reason. This is why we're here, which begs the question. I mean, you start going through your mind. You're like, okay, there's Chad Gable. There's Jey Uso. There's Solo Sikoa, which you mentioned on SmackDown. Like, there are so many different Dominic Mysterio. So many different characters throughout WWE that their main thing has been turning the backs on people.
When you mention that, now my main thing is like, oh, please show up on SmackDown too. I want anybody who has gone against their family to have little instances of running into Howdy. You can keep them mainly targeted at Chad for now, but like, could you imagine if like during a Bloodline segment, you know, the screen just glitches a little bit, like tiny stuff like that, to where you like, it just links all these people together. That would just be, oh. Yeah,
you could have it. You don't have to overdo it, like you were saying. You could have, I don't know, Bloodline comes out, and I mean, people might say it's too much. Solos with the Roman, Heyman, blah 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 blah. But
no, just tiny.
But they do Easter eggs all the time.
Yeah, just
so
tiny.
You
stuff.
could have a Bloodline backstage segment. You can have that little rabbit doll.
Yeah,
like in a locker. You could have just little tiny things. And I mean, God, this was so good. You see Bo kind of do like the hurt heel like dynamic again that Bray was so good at. You see him kind of go through like, man, I'm kind of sad, like doubting myself, like in the beginning, and then Howdy like takes control, and Howdy's like, no, this isn't why we're here. Like basically, like,
so
like you're better than this. Like I made you better than this,
it's
and
so
he
good.
just flips that switch, and they did it again. I found myself like, I know they're brothers. I get that they look alike, but the way they shoot it and the lighting, there are spots. I'm like, God, that's Bray.
Yeah. It looks like they're talking to each other at times. That's crazy.
It is wild.
Phenomenal stuff. Anyway, this leads directly back to Gable. Gable's now, he finds Otis in like a lunchroom. Like,
maybe
cafeteria?
It's like catering or a bar or something.
Otis is getting a snack. He's not on TV tonight. And he needs
not just a snack. This man got a sandwich. He got burritos. He's got a donut.
He's a growing boy. He's a growing boy.
I know. Trust me. I know all about it.
But Gable's scared at this point. And he's now kind of fading back into being a face. He's not the mean Gable. And he goes up and he goes, they're coming for me, man. Like, they're coming for me. Will you please help? And he goes, I know you. He goes, and Otis is kind of sitting there shaking his head. And Gable just goes, I know, you hate me. And Otis goes, I don't hate you, but this is your problem. And Gable goes, you know what? I'll own that. I'm a man. But he goes, just know that if they end up coming for you guys, I will be there. That was it. And then they left. Maxine and Tozawa showed up, but Gable kind of just got out of there. Very quick segment there. Good stuff. Good stuff. We then would move on Flip the page, Will. Flip the page. A lot of notes.
That's what happens when there's good programming on, man.
Rey versus Dominic Mysterio match. The WrestleMania 39 and 40 rematch. That freaking deadbeat dad.
I tell you.
Deadbeat dad.
So I don't mean to just never. He's just never going to do it, huh?
Yeah, I know. Dom would come out with the early offense against his dad, and he would hit him. He would hit him, and then he'd pose for the crowd, and the crowd would just boo the hell out of this man. But Rey would capitalize early. He would do a Hurricane Rana off. He would jump off the apron. So Dom's on the outside of the ring. He'd jump off the apron and Hurricane Rana Dom into the barricade. This man's like 50, and he's still doing this. We'll say it every week. He's good at his job. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, they were father and son, Rey and Dom. They obviously, I know, crazy, huh? They have the most chemistry out of anybody in the world because of that reason. They are working stiff here, giving each other shots, but fun stuff would happen. So, Liv would come out because Dom helped her win earlier, right? So she might as well come out and help Daddy Dom. Dom would then do a catapult slingshot into a submission maneuver that wouldn't tap Rey out.
No,
of course not.
Nobody taps anymore. They just don't do it.
No, yeah. So Dom ends up on the apron facing Liv, and Rey, he does the best thing he's ever done as dad, honestly, if you ask me. But he comes and he drop kicks Dom off the apron, and he lands where? He lands on top of Miss Liv. Miss Liv Mysterio. I mean, Liv Morgan. And she is loving it. She grabs him and just holds him there on top of her.
Yeah.
And yeah. Good for him. Good for her. Just two people being people, huh? Zelina Vega would then come out, boo, and attack Liv Morgan. And Dom would actually have the upper hand on Rey Mysterio here. He hit a 619 on Rey, and then he would move up. He would go on the top turnbuckle to do the splash that follows the 619 now. While he's up there, Liv and Zelina get on the apron. They start fighting, and Zelina kicks Liv. Liv falls on the apron, which shakes the ring. Dom falls, lands on his crotch on the turnbuckle. Ow.
Yeah.
Rey
family jewels.
The family jewels. Family match, family jewels. Rey would then hit his finisher on Dom, and Rey wins.
I will say, nice variant of the 619 and like the turnbuckle with the. Yeah. I like that. That was cool.
Rey, he liked the 619 on the turnbuckle. It was cool. But Rey wins again. Liv was very apologetic afterward. I'm so sorry. I'll fix it. Please don't be mad at me chasing him all the way up the ring. Obviously, I want to see Dom win this match, but for what it was, this was perfection. I mean, more Liv and Dom stuff. Zelina still being involved. Hopefully, that's just that's the end of it. I don't need to see more of them fighting, but for this, it was great. Pop.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on how long Rhea's out for, because you still got to pencil those feuds in. We mentioned Dakota as well.
Man, Dakota Kai's just sitting there. She has nothing to do with Money in the Bank. Put her on the pre-show against Liv just for a match. Why not?
Why not do it? Huh? I'm gonna pop it as well. This match was good. We say it every week. Rey's really good in the ring. Dom and him, like you said, have great chemistry. The Dom Liv stuff, I complained a few weeks ago about there being matches that get to matches being used for storylines. And at least what I thought was an incorrect way at times. This is perfection. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Liv and Dom both come out looking like $1 million. I'm super invested in the storyline still. I don't really care about Rey and Zelina, which that's fine with me. You guys can go do your LWO thing.
Yep.
And Liv and Dom, now we'll see what happens because Liv cost Dom, and Dom's obviously not going to be happy with that.
Yeah, Dom deserves this. He was raised by a deadbeat dad who put him in prison. He lost his mommy, and now he's gonna fold and find that Liv is the love of his life. And become
I hope so.
Mr. and Mrs. Liv Mysterio.
Liv just treats Dom so nice.
Playing 2K with the boys. I mean, what else do you want? Come on. We'll move on to Sami Zayn. Ah, man. Not a fan of Sami. Guess what he did? He came out and he yelled that he was Intercontinental Champion. He did it.
He just walked out about 10 words in.
He said, "You know what's great, Boston, Massachusetts? That I'm the Intercontinental Champion." Woohoo! He goes through his normal spiel of stuff before saying, "I'm going to beat Braun Breaker at Money in the Bank," and wrestling rules means Braun Breaker has to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And this would actually get good here. So he basically came out and said, you know what? I respect you because while everybody else is running from me, you challenged me. But he goes, on Saturday, all that respect leaves the door, man. I'm going to hurt you. And he said, I'm going to decimate you. And then Sammy becomes Rocky again and basically says, you think you're the only person who's ever told me that? I've been beaten and broken and everybody is beating me and whatever. I come back and I win, basically. He goes, I want you to want this. And just so you know, you're not as good as you think you are. And Braun goes, okay, basically. Starts to walk out of the ring slowly. Nah, turns around, spears the shit out of Sammy. And it's great. Spears him real good. And we think, okay, you know, we're getting a spear. This is good for the match build up. He walks out of the ring, and you see that Sammy has rolled out of the ring onto the far side of the ring from the stage. He's outside the ring, and Braun's looking at him like, oh, I have you right where I want you. He smells that his barbecue chicken at Shaq. It's like barbecue chicken. And Braun does his thing. He starts sprinting to go around the ring to do his spear. And I'm not a Sammy fan, but it was nice, bro. Sammy leapfrogs him, and Braun spears the shit out of the steel steps. Nails him. Nails him.
Yeah.
And Sammy,
23 miles an hour.
23 miles an hour. Michael Cole, he didn't say it tonight.
No. I guess because he only runs the ropes at 23. I don't know how fast he runs around the ring.
We'll have it. We'll have it. But he runs it fast. And Sammy's like, I'm not done with you. He gets him up, starts beating him up, does a exploder into the turnbuckle, and then he sets up the haluva kick, the most devastating, shitty finisher ever. And he runs to do a haluva kick, and Braun spears the brakes off of him. I mean, just
like runs and like jumps and spear. Like Braun gets up to spear him like in the chest.
Oh yeah. I mean, he finally, after all these years, a spear that feels like it hurts, like kind of like Goldberg-esque again. Roman every once in a while can give you a good one, but these were good. But Braun goes over and he raises the belt. We all know what that means. But a segment that started out as a normal Sammy yelling promo ended up being really good stuff. What they did there was really good back and forth of change of momentum for a build up. This is great. Pop.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop it as well. Admittedly, Sammy comes on TV and you're like, God.
It's just the same thing every week. It really is, man. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, and from our understanding, at least from what we've seen, you guys feel the same way. I guess I had the thought when he was cutting his promo, like, if this is for the kids, this is for the children, like that's the person they probably like.
Oh, I had the thought of a bathroom break, but yeah, that too.
Well, it's neither here or there, I guess.
No, Jey Uso gets to be the guy that kids like.
Well, why not both, you know? I guess.
That's true.
I guess that's what they're going for.
It's Canadian eat.
Like you said, it's the same stuff every week.
Yeah.
God, like.
It literally, he starts the promo the exact same every week. He says the town's name, and then he yells that he's Intercontinental Champion.
As he circles the ring.
Yeah, as he circles the ring.
I wish he would lose the belt.
Yeah.
It's not happening on Saturday.
It's not.
Nope.
It's not. Check out our Money in the Bank predictions, actually.
Cheap plug.
Just saying.
Free $99 to go check that out.
Then we do have our main event, our men's Money in the Bank qualifier, the very last qualifier match for all the Money in the Bank matches. And you just say the names and you're like, oh, yeah.
This is my kind of wrestling.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre, Ilya Dragunov, and Sheamus, three guys who are not scared to just slap some man meat, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what they did. Before the match, Drew would give his AJ Lee made bracelet.
And Larry.
We don't
to
Michael Cole,
Larry.
the one that he stole from CM Punk. So everybody wanted to know that was the thing. And the match would start with Sheamus and Drew just not even acknowledging Ilya. They would just be like, okay, it's me and you, bro. It's time. And Ilya would come over and try to get involved, and Drew would just shove him.
Yeah.
And then they would keep talking shit, and then Ilya would just come and drop kick him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He was like, get out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then it started off with...
And you see Sheamus in the background when that happened. Sheamus was like, oh.
Yeah. Sheamus
okay.
like,
Yeah.
And then Ilya and Sheamus would eventually would start the match. They'd go at each other hard, smacking. I mean, Sheamus' chest was red 30 seconds into this smack fight. They'd work their way out of the ring, though. And all three of them at that point were back and forth. Ilya would throw Drew's head off the ring post. Drew McIntyre threw Sheamus into the crowd over the barricade.
Mm-hmm.
And after Ilya threw Drew off the ring post, he stumbled back into the barricade where then Sheamus would do the 10 beats, the 1, 2, 3, while Drew was on the barricade. So he was doing the beats like with the crowd right next to him.
Yeah.
A really cool picture.
Cool spot. And they slow-mo to go to commercial and they show it from the side. And I'm like, that's a cool shot.
Ilya, we come back from break and Ilya was like working over both guys at once. He was like chopping them one at a time.
Yeah.
Chop, chop, chop. And he would do a
360 chop. At one
yeah,
point.
360 chop. He'd do the step up kick to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Drew would fall right away, but Sheamus actually stood up, and then he'd have to come with a running knee. So that was a little something there. Dragunov would do an H-bomb to Sheamus off the apron.
Oh.
So his H-bomb is the running where he kind of just like drop elbows him.
Yeah, it's kind of like in like UFC when you get on somebody and you like elbow
ground
them.
pound.
Yeah. It's like a running,
ground pound.
Yeah, and this man hit that clean.
Oh yeah,
Just
he puts it on your chin, bro. And then he'd run into the ring, and then he'd hit Drew with one.
Just so good.
And then he hit Drew with another one. And then 1, 2. Ooh, Drew kick out. Then Ilya would do, Drew McIntyre was on the top rope about to superplex Sheamus. Ilya would run up, German suplex to Drew McIntyre, who would then superplex Sheamus. This was great. This was just great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just really great stuff, man. Drew McIntyre would then he would turn the tide. He would give a huge headbutt to Ilya Dragunov. Huge. He would go for the Claymore, but Ilya would reverse it with the Torpedo Moscow. I love the name of that move.
Such a unique, like, cool moveset.
Yeah, Drew. Yeah, Ilya's special, man. Obviously needs character work in order to resonate with a lot of the main television fans, Raw and SmackDown casuals. But yeah, he's great. Anyway, he would go for coast to coast because he's also got that in his bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what he calls it. He didn't call it a coast to coast, but yeah, it's a coast to coast.
Yeah, it's a coast to coast.
And we're like, oh my God, he's really going to go coast to coast here.
And he does it until Sheamus bro kicks the shit out of him, picks him up, bro kicks him again. Ilya rolls out of the ring because he's done for the night. And Drew and Sheamus 1v1 to end this match. That's what everybody wants.
It's Carbo.
Yeah, they did the whole come on, let's do this, and they just start wailing on each other in the ring. Mm-hmm. You could tell that the time was winding down because they were speeding things up. Like they were like really speeding things up.
Yeah.
Sheamus would go and try to do the 10 beats on the ropes now, and he would.
And it
was like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like in 2K when you just like tap the button as fast as possible.
Jam and exit it so they can't reverse it. Yeah.
Yeah. He'd back up. He'd go for the bro kick, but Claymore.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre. He wins. He's the final man to qualify for the Money in the Bank. We predicted this on our predictions because we did them early, and there was one more person to qualify, and we said who's gonna be, and we said we're putting all of our money on Drew. So I'm glad that happened. This match was amazing. Drew is the right pick. Pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, everything. I'm going to pop it as well. You have Sheamus, looked good in the match. He probably, honestly, looked the worst of the three, but that's not to say he didn't look good.
It doesn't matter.
He still looked good. He can maybe venture towards the Intercontinental scene. Dragunov, star of the match. I don't think anybody would disagree.
Oh, yeah.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
Drew obviously gets the win. Like you said, we thought maybe Money in the Bank that would happen. Now it begs the question, I guess, the whole story, like, yeah, fantastic match. Everybody looks great. Drew's got the chance at Money in the Bank. He said he wants to cash it in same night. Does he win it?
I don't know, man.
Because we were fighting that idea when we made our predictions.
Okay, how about this? If you had to pick a winner for the Money in the Bank between Chad, Jay, or Drew, which one are you picking?
Well, you don't have me pick between three favorites.
Yeah.
Ah, Lord.
You're a betting man. What's your money on?
I said Jay in the video, but Jay and Chad Gable have a match on Monday Night Raw next week.
Yeah.
And they were both dropping howdy stuff.
It's just like...
And it really makes me think that Drew's gonna win that briefcase.
I think you may. I'm still going to put my money on Jay.
If the match is first.
If the match is on first in the night, Drew's chances go up exponentially. All right? Yes.
Yeah.
Then it'd be a hard bet for me. But I just think that Jay is the most overhuman on the planet, and as I've said multiple times tonight, sometimes the right answer is the right answer.
Yeah.
Put it on him.
It's just the thing though with this Money in the Bank field, like there's always probably 2 to 3 that you're like, they're not gonna win it. The only one in this match, the men's Money in the Bank, that's not winning it is Andrade.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I'm like,
well, on LA Knight. LA Knight's not winning.
LA Knight is like out of what, the 6th, so he'd be like the 5th favorite.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh yeah, I mean, he didn't win it last year. Like you could make up some case at least why he might be able to. But I mean, Carmelo's there, Jay's there, Gable's there.
Because even with Carmelo Hayes, everybody else has, I mean, apart from Andrade, Andrade just doesn't have the fan support that Melo has. So Melo, to me, automatically is above Andrade. And all the other 4 guys have storylines that wouldn't require Money in the Bank to be interesting. So Carmelo Hayes could definitely get it, but it's going to be the most interesting Money in the Bank match, I think, of all time.
I mean, at least of recent memory. I mean, at least the last decade, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, another great episode of Raw, another pop for us here on the channel.
Yes.
Good stuff, man. Wrestling is so good.
It's so nice.
Good time to be alive. Push Dakota Kai. Anyway, follow us on all socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, and listen to us wherever you get your podcast at Spotify, Apple, etc. And share us with whoever you think might like this content. We're just wrestling nerds. We want to talk to more wrestling nerds. As always, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time. We're out.